Of course, right as I go live, I get a phone call. It would just happen that way. Good morning. It is July 28th. It is Thursday. Um, just now sipping my tea. I'm actually on time today. Ooh. Actually, I probably should have taken that phone call, but I had hit just, yeah. I will call them back. Let's see. I don't know. That was kind of a weird start for me. So it is Thursday. I get to go into Portland today. Ooh, yay! And teach a 1 hour self-defense class to some security people that are going to be working downtown. Yeah. That's right. The podcast is more important. Well, okay. So I've answered phone calls before while I've streamed, but that was just like I hit go live and then the phone rings. So it is what it is. It's actually that was Indoor Media, which is the company that I use for. I got an email regarding my shopping cart advertising. So I need to figure out exactly what I'm doing. Am I going to advertise the school? Am I going to advertise? I don't really want to do a back to school because school will already be in session. Not necessarily a checkup call. I mean, I got an email, but I haven't responded to them. So they're probably just like, hey, did you get our email? But I have the artwork. I just need to send it to them, which is funny because all the requirements that they sent me for artwork are not the same requirements that I got for my other stuff. So I'm not exactly sure. And of course, everybody fucking uses Photoshop. So don't know how that works when I don't use Photoshop. But hey, there are the mainstream stuff. Like most people use Word. I do not. Most people use Adobe shit. I do not. I like to have control over the software I use, or at least perceived control. Let's just say that. So, oh yeah, marketing. I'm sure that they do, and I'm sure Adobe loves that they pay them, all that money. But there's so many software programs out there that are so much better. Now it's funny because the file formats that they said they would not accept specifically listed. It actually said Microsoft Paint. It actually listed that. So they've got to have people who've sent shit in for Microsoft Paint, even though isn't that just a BMP file? Like any graphics program can read that. But Corel Draw was one specifically. PageMaker files was another one. And PageMaker, that's like old school desktop publishing. So I can't say much, even as everything I do is Adobe, but that's more based on comfortability from working in the program for decades. Yeah, well, I mean, I'll admit I use Photoshop, and I think I got a pirate copy of Corel Draw from a buddy of mine. And I wouldn't really say a pirate copy. He just said, here's a copy, use it. But I didn't really like it very much. And so because I had a web design company and my business partner was in school, we bought Photoshop. I think I bought Photoshop 5. That's how long ago that was. Photoshop 5. it was either 5.0 or 5.5. Um, and we may have had 5.0 and then upgraded to 5.5. But and then I had Illustrator. I don't know what version it was, but then I'll admit, over the years, just because it was so expensive, I'd use pirated copies. I've used licensed copies, but I got tired of. I got tired when they moved to the cloud. That was like, I'm done. I couldn't get any new updates. Everything, So that's when I was like, I started researching other companies or other software programs to use, and that's when I found Affinity. And where I remember when I first bought Photoshop, it was, what was it? It was like, and this is like version 5. Late 90s this happened. What was it? It was close to $700 or $800 in late 90s money. So just absurd. And then what was it? And then when the CS came out, and you could buy like the whole package for like $1,500, and that was early 2000s. But a friend of mine, because he had an educational discount, because he was in school, we got it for like $150. Like, it was super inexpensive. So that's really kind of what saved our bacon on cost that way. But fast forward to, I don't know how many years ago, it's probably been at least 2 or 3 years. I was doing some research and I came across this software called, I can't remember what even the software was called, or the company is called. Maybe it's sans serif. I can't remember, but it's Affinity, and it was Affinity Photo, and it's their version of Photoshop. And it feels like Photoshop. I think in some aspects it's better than Photoshop. There's some things that Photoshop does that it doesn't, but it's stuff that I don't use. But yeah, it's great. And let's see, it's available for Mac. It's available for the iPad. And I think I spent $50 on it, and I continually get it upgraded because it's on a Mac. Because and I don't know what it does for PC, because you can also get it for PC. And then I think when I discovered the software, it was Designer had just come out. Good morning, Bill. Designer had just come out, so I bought the 2. I bought Photoshop, or I bought Photo just to kind of see. And then I was like, and they were having a sale, so I bought Designer shortly after, because it was their version of Illustrator. I have an old copy of Illustrator because it does a couple things that Designer does not. And there's people like, we'll pay more. Just have Designer do this one thing that that Illustrator does, and we'll convert fully. It doesn't do those things. There's actually a couple things that the Illustrator does that Designer doesn't, but it's not something that I use a lot, or those features. So for me, that's why I have that older copy of, that, so I can use, because what is that, sir? What is it called? basically it'll take a drawing, like you put it into Illustrator, it'll take a drawing and it'll turn it into a vector file. So, and the cool thing is I can take a native Photoshop file or a native Illustrator file, an AI file, and it will open with no problems in Affinity. No problems at all. And then of course they have a third program out called Affinity Publisher, and not to get confused with Microsoft Publisher, because that program sucks. But Affinity Publisher is basically their InDesign, their version of InDesign. And the only thing that Publisher doesn't do that I wish it did was create EPUBs. And if it could create an EPUB, then I could basically have my books turn into, I could put them on iBooks for digital. Yeah, it's horrid. But you want to know how many people still use that to make their books? There's a lot of people. In fact, Bram uses it. And so I told him, nope, we are the next book that we're working on. It's going to be all in pub. It's all going to be an Affinity Publisher. Oh, and did I mention that all the programs are like 30 or 40 bucks each? Well, no, 40 or 50 bucks each. In fact, one day they actually had a sale. You could buy all of them at $25 a pop. And I'm like, holy cow. Like, and I don't, I'm and on the Mac, it's you get icon, it's like, oh, this software, this file's been updated. Okay, I just upgrade the program. So yeah, it's I like the one and done, and that's not a monthly price. That is just money down, and that's it. When it came to Adobe, what is it? What's their video program? Premiere Pro. When I started using, I wanted to learn how to use that, because I used, God, what is it called? I used Pinnacle. I used Pinnacle for a lot of my stuff because it was really simple. And when I wanted to get into other video stuff that I could use, or more professional stuff, I looked at Adobe Premiere Pro, and it was okay. But when I ended up going to a Mac and they introduced the new version of Final Cut was, it, in my opinion, does everything that Premiere Pro does, but it's laid out, at least for me, the editing is laid out in a much more logical format. So, and then of course and that's Apple. That's directly Apple. And then Apple's version of After Effects is what's it called? Motion. And I've used Motion, but I own Motion. I haven't used it that much, so I'm not, and there's like tutorials out there. If I could, okay, and I know that there's a tutorial out there because I've watched it and I've seen it, but basically saying, how to use Motion and create the transporter effect from Star Trek. Because I've also seen, and then, the rotoscoping for the lightsabers and all that kind of stuff. I've seen stuff in After Effects, but I also know you can do it in Final Cut as well. So, or not Final Cut, in Motion. So, yeah, Final Cut is much more user friendly, but it's so funny because Mark Klein uses Final Cut, but he uses an older version. And prior to their upgrade, because it's Final Cut 10 or Final Cut X, however you want to look at it, they actually changed the way according to him, they radically changed the way that 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 you edited visually, and so he's much more comfortable with the old way of doing it. So he actually still uses, like, he's got one of those old MacBook Pros, not MacBook Pros, uh, Mac Pros with the old software. So he does all of that, or at least it has been. I haven't talked to him in a while on what he's upgraded, but when he was editing videos, it was all in that. So, and pretty much everything I've done since I moved to a Mac, like everything I film is on an iPhone. I do all my editing in Final Cut. When I discovered Affinity, all my stuff is done in Affinity. All my books I've done. All my books have been I've done in Publisher. So my only thing I'd love Publisher to do is be able to save it as an EPUB, or be able to create an EPUB, and then that would allow me to, because I could do Kindle. I could do a Kindle electronic book, because they accept PDF through KDP, but which wouldn't be a problem, but it would be really cool to be able to create an EPUB. And I could do an EPUB if I wanted, because Apple Pages, their what is it? Their native word processing program, you can save as an EPUB too. And I've done that as well. So I did that with Kitchen Funakoshi's Karate Do My Way of Life. Not it was a personal thing. I just basically created an iBook version for my son, so when he read it, he could actually highlight it and have the computer read it back to him. But although I'm a PC guy, I will never take away from Mac their seamless interconnectivity of programs and hardware. Oh yeah, absolutely. So everything I think that's the one thing I really like about Apple is everything connects together. I used to be that hardcore. I got to be a techie and I got to know all the back ends. I don't have time for that. Just just give me a computer that I can use and it's easy and I can do really cool shit with it. That's all I need. Oh, yeah. So yesterday I went around and I handed out flyers to all the businesses in my little shopping center, except for McDonald's, because I didn't have time to go in there, and it was kind of lunch. So okay. So let me trail back in this. I did not hit the restaurants, and there's 1, 2, 3. Let's see. I did go into Round Table Pizza because they had just opened, and there was nobody in there. But then I got what is it? There's 1, 2. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. So there was 3 restaurants plus McDonald's, if you consider that a restaurant. So 4 places I did not go into yesterday to hand out my little flyers announcing the 10% off training. Went into notice it. Now this is how much I pay attention. I should probably already know this. There's a Bank of America, like literally right across from me. Because as I, where the school sits, you got the alley. If I drive down the alley, I drive straight out onto Mill Plain. And then to the left is this this Bank of America. Now, I don't bank with Bank of America. I don't bank with any of the large banks. I prefer to stay within the credit unions. I've been with my credit union for, I don't know, 20 plus years, but, we, uh, what was I going to say? Anyway, it's closed. Like, I went up to the door and there's a sign on it that says temporarily closed. Sorry for your inconvenience. Please feel free to use our, um, our ATM machine. I don't know how long it's been closed. Not a clue. Not a clue. So, yeah. So of course I had to skip them because they were closed. But, I well received, thanked. I just, went in. I was like, hey, this is not time sensitive. This is just because we are here in the shopping center, and we just wanted to extend this on to those employees and owners that work within this work within the shopping center, because there are other businesses that give a percentage off. So why not we give a percentage off? So, I talked to several people who are extremely interested in classes. This one, it's WAF. I think it's like Washington Federal. Their logo is WAFD, so it might be Washington Federal Bank. Anyway, so the manager was like, "Oh yeah, my daughter, she's 10. She was training at this Taekwondo place before COVID hit, and we stopped training, and she wants to get back into it. And well, you're right there. Oh, and I get a discount." So closed to outbreak of Tarkalian lice. Oh my gosh. You never know. It could be anything. Actually, I would. Well, that would be a bad joke. I've always joked that I wanted to go on, like, for April Fool's Day, go put a sign on Carl Kanthak's door saying that he's closed for business and all students will be gladly accepted at Artists Martial Arts. I think he would find that funny. I hope Carl would find that funny. But yeah, so it being a hot day yesterday, I got out there. So, of course, here I finished my thing. I went out, ended up having lunch with Lisa as well, and then I pretty much just stayed inside. In fact, one of the places, there's a postal place. Their air conditioning was out, and I'm just like, oh my gosh! Like, it was getting kind of warm in there. It was about, I don't know how hot it was outside, but Jesse, and I had forgotten his name before I even was like, I remember your name, but I can't remember it. Jesse, and I now think Uncle Jesse. Not that I ever really watched that show, but that's how our culture is. We, stuff. So, he was like, yeah, he says, I think it was 79 inside, 79 at the time. And it was warm, no airflow. Oh God, that's just, I don't know how I do that. I told him, I said, I got cold water and I got air conditioning, which even when I got there yesterday, I was debating, okay, I'm going to go outside. Do I need to have the air conditioning running? Because I don't know how long I'm going to be walking around. And then I was like, no, I want to come back to an ice cold box. So I went and I turned on the air. And when I got back, it was nice and comfortable. So, but it was good. So, made some good contacts, collected some more business cards. Hopefully, I will get something out of that. It'll be nice. So, and then, yeah. So Um, what was it? What was it? There was something else in my brain. I'm just, yeah. I have not been sleeping well the last couple nights, mainly because Dojo is acting like a weird freakazoid. Um, he's uh, and like, of course, we don't allow him to jump on the table, and we're like cats. There's just certain things like, you don't jump up on here, and so I don't mind him in bed with us. That's fine. He can, he sleeps on the covers. He is not one of those cats that burrows underneath the covers, and I don't know why, because all the cats I've ever had have always been burriers. So like they'll either curl on top or um, burrow underneath. Dojo is not like that. Um, uh, so but for some reason, I have this, just the way our bed is situated. I have this IKEA 4x2 cube that kind of sits up a little bit high to my left, and I've got a bunch of shit on top of it. He does not. He doesn't ever try to jump up there. Like, it's just not something that he's done. And for some reason, and I don't know why. Hello, Beverly. He jumps up there, has no clue. And so basically, I can, in my sleep, I can feel him doing it. And so, I'll wake up and, like, even last night I could hear him jump up there because he knocked off a bunch of shit. So I'd wake up, pick him up, and then try and go back to sleep. So, uh, yeah, it's just weird cat shit. So, um, not don't really know. He's just kind of sitting there. He has not tried to climb out of the house yet today, which is good because yesterday I had to knock him down a couple times. Um, so I don't know what's going on with him. However, he did interact, and I don't think it's connected, mainly because he was doing this beforehand. This is just new. This is new behavior. Um, but my son has been taking care of my sister's dog, and he brought the dog over here yesterday. And Dojo's fine. He was fine with the dog as long, I was not here when it happened, but it was what is it? Everyone said the Dojo was just fine, uh, as long as Vivi didn't get near him. so and then Vivi has a cat. Well, my sister has a cat. Vivi has a sibling that is of the feline persuasion, and they play, and so she saw another cat and wanted to play, and Vivi's got um, this she's just a hyperactive dog anyway. So she came over, and uh, she was with Winston, and all of a sudden, boom, she's right over here, Dojo, and I guess Dojo was just like pop, 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 pop. Just basically put her in her place. So I would have loved to have gotten that on video, but it is what it is. So um, I tried to watch. And of course, so tomorrow, of course, is Friday. Friday is spoiler day. We'll be talking, probably be talking more Star Trek and Strange New Worlds. Strange New Worlds is over, but we'll be talking New Horizons, and then other stuff. Rob and I, and then I actually tried to watch New Horizons last night, and I ended up falling asleep. So I will have to. I will definitely have to get back into it. Luckily, this is only an hour and 18-minute episode as opposed to the hour and a half episode of last week. But last week's episode was actually pretty good. So, we'll, but it did start out with, actually what I was kind of hoping, and we'll talk about that on Friday. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But yeah, I will definitely have to sit down and rewatch it because I did fall asleep. So I'll be doing that today. So really kind of going forward, it's just, this week went from okay to good. Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's not too bad. Yeah. So basically New Horizons, episode 9 that dropped today, last night. And then everything else I've been talking about every single day, you can see it. You can see it right here. New Horizons. Okay. New Horizons, to be specific. Yeah. There are, I did not, and like yesterday, I did not watch any Star Trek just because of everything that I was doing. And when we look at like so far what we've done, what we're like, I think I got up to the Chosen Realm and Proving Ground, and now I'm actually I was ahead, and now I got to watch stuff today to catch up. So that is Stratagem and Harbinger, and now we're basically 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, Enterprise will be over. I'm trying to. I do want to be. I want to try and figure out how I can put season 4 in. I have not done this yet, but reorganize so I can do season 4 in a logical format for Discovery, because I have the 3 seasons there. So, because I haven't watched season 4 at all, but we'll see. We'll see. And then nothing new here. Nothing new to post. I'm sure that they're so in September. When it comes to this time frame and end of December, we've got what is it cut? We got Leon J somewhere. I can't remember exactly where he's going to be. John Ralston had posted something, or had said in like earlier in a podcast that there's that, but haven't seen any more on that. So when I get that information, I'll post that. We are going to do so, as you can see, on the 6th and the 20th, we're doing self-defense classes at Artisan, and I'm going to continue that through September. So actually, I'm going to continue that. So we're going to have basically 2 classes a month, roughly every other weekend, and then one of those classes will be at 4, so people can go. And then Lisa is actually going to start learning the curriculum, so she can actually start teaching the curriculum for the self-defense, which I kind of like. So I think I'll have to, that'll be coaxing her a little bit more into recording the curriculum, because that's what I want to do. I want to record it, so we can actually get it on video. So that this is what we do, so she can go back and review it. I've also thought about doing an instructor course. So So yeah, so there's a couple different things that we can do there. Let's see. Where, okay, trying to find the remove. So yeah, that's all I have today. I am looking forward to going downtown to teach. I will admit, a little bit nervous, but not. It's just, mainly because I don't know exactly what I want to teach. I've been trying to put in my mind, what these guys should know, but we've got supervisors who are going to be fully geared up and can use all of their tools. And we have regular officers who just have pepper spray and no handcuffs. So it's going to be more of a defense and get away. So I wish I had 2 hours, but I only have an hour. So trying to think of the most efficient way to teach. Of course, we'll talk about defensive positions because that's what they already kind of know. And if they've already gone through their OC, I'd be like, okay, here's our OC position, and I'll bring a crimp with me just to show, if you carry a crimp, here's a crimp position. Um, uh, uh, if you're just empty hand, here's an empty hand position. This is why we do this. And then go, oh, excuse me. Oh my gosh. And then just kind of go from there. So we will, but I don't know. I'm curious as how many of these people are twos. I'm interested to see how many of these people I know. I mean, I know one of them, but I'll be curious how many people I or will recognize me, or because and I only say that because there's I've been in the industry for almost 20 years, over 20 years. Been licensed since 04, so, but I was doing it before that, at least the bouncing part. So so maybe 18 years, 20 years. Let's just say 20 years. We'll just say 20 years. But regardless, I've worked for a couple different companies, mainly Providence, but there were so many new people that came in and so many people that went out. So, but I don't know. I'm curious as to who they're hiring, and it did say beginners. It did say beginners. So maybe these people have never. They don't have any experience at all. Like they are newly security certified people. So yeah, just trying to think, teach to the twos, break it down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So, but that can take forever. So, so yeah. And then if we're in this position and they're grabbed, I might, the rollover, the push away, and some basic high 5, low 5 stuff where, you can, from here, you can parry. If they get choked, they can drop the elbow, push away. Yeah. So see, this is kind of stuff. So I think I've got an idea of what I'd like to teach. Can I get all of that out in an hour? That's my thing. So, yeah. And then it's finding parking. Why? So here's the thing. I know. So Portland has what is it? I can't remember what it's called. Um, a a World Trade Center building downtown, and that's where we're going to be. Um, I don't know why I'm concerned about parking. Maybe because I don't like parking downtown. I don't know. So, and it's been a while since I've been down there, so I don't know exactly where it is. So, I'll be doing a little bit of searching. But my class, I think, is at 2. So I go from 2 to 3. Let me just double check and confirm. 2 to 3, and today's Thursday. So I'll get down there probably, I don't know. My goal is to get down there by 1:30, be parked and ready, and then, I'll just hang out with a book. I don't care. So, all right. I really don't know what else to chat about right now. So I think I just need to organize myself for the self-defense class, and then go do it. It's supposed to be hot today. Not as hot as yesterday, or maybe as hot as yesterday. I don't know. It says today is going to be a high of 97. It's 75. We got a breeze. It's not, well, kind of have a breeze. It's not that bad. Yesterday was 96, so it's only going to be so. It's not going to be in the hundreds because it's going to be really close. Today is 97. Tomorrow's going to be 98. Saturday's going to be 99. Sunday's going to be 95. And then we start going down from there. So, but now if the guy from Dutch, Winston's coworker, who says, yes, I'll be there on Thursday to train because I want to sign up. He hasn't done it yet. But if he does show up, then it'll be good. We can do that. So, but I don't know. Like I said, as many times as people said, oh yeah, I'll be there, I'd have 100 students or more. So, okay. Anyway, I'm starting to babble. So I'm going to get going. Thank you for hanging out. Rob, you be safe. Sorry you had to sit through the final episode of the season finale of Enterprise. That horrible episode. But we can actually talk about that tomorrow. So we'll talk about stuff tomorrow. So anyway, love to you all. Thank you for hanging out. If you're watching this after and you actually found that this was interesting enough to watch until now, and you haven't liked, subscribed, or shared, or anything like that, do so. I'd appreciate it. So, see ya mañana.